Whether you just purchased your first watch or you're adding to your collection, these are some great tips to keep your watch running for generations. And there's nothing revolutionary to what we're recommending, just some best practices we've shared around the office. So first, regular cleaning. This is kind of a two-part cleaning. Step 1, set up a workstation with a soft surface, some Q-tips, and a microfiber cloth. Next, remove the bracelet from the watch. Then thoroughly wipe down the watch head and bracelet with the microfiber, and use the Q-tips to get in between the lugs and the hard-to-reach areas on the bracelet. This also acts as a checkup to make sure nothing is in need of repair. So check things like the bracelet, the clasp, and the spring bars. We recommend doing this once a month. The second part to cleaning is something we recommend doing once a quarter. And because it involves water, we only recommend this with watches that have a screw-down crown. Take a toothbrush and some warm water and just clean the watch head and bracelet. This is fairly similar to the first cleaning, but with a little bit more elbow grease. Lastly, make sure to dry off the watch and the bracelet prior to reassembly. We also recommend not using soap. There's no real need, and you risk soap working its way into the gaskets and deteriorating them over time. And it can also be very difficult to hold a watch covered in soap. Our second tip, make winding a habit. This applies to both manual and automatic watches. With manual watches, we recommend winding at the same time every day. It keeps the watch performing optimally and creates an easy to remember habit, kind of like putting your shoes on in the morning. For automatic watches, we recommend giving the watch 30 or 40 winds every other week. Now we know what you're thinking. It's an automatic watch. I don't need to wind it. And you're not wrong, but a watch works best when it's fully wound. So this really is a best practice. And lastly, the importance of service. Every mechanical watch needs service. We've heard the stories. I've had my watch for 15 years and I've never had it serviced and it's running great. That may be true, but timekeeping is only one factor of a watch's performance. It would be like driving a car for 15,000 miles without an oil change. Just because it's running doesn't mean it's running well. Manufacturers have different recommendations on when to get a watch serviced. We recommend starting at the 5-year mark. Get your watch tested and see how well it's running. These tests look at multiple vitals to see how well your watch is actually performing. If your watch has a strong amplitude, low beat error, and a low time delta, it is actually running well. In this case, go ahead and wait another year and then get your watch tested again. Once the performance of those vitals begins to drop, it's time to think about a service. In the long run, regular service is going to keep your watch performing well and help prevent unnecessary repairs. Again, none of these practices are revolutionary, but together they do something. We believe they create a connection with your watch, something you cannot experience with your phone or your computer. And it's like the old mantra, you get out what you put in. The better you care for your watches, the better they will work for you and the longer you will have them. Let us know some of your best practices and tips for caring for your watches. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.
Today we're gonna go over the top 5 watch rules you should be following. Number 1, your watch goes on your left hand or your right hand. I get this question asked all the time, Jose, on what wrist should I wear my watch? And the answer is it depends. It's really on the wrist that suits you. So it all depends on what are you. So if you're a righty, you do all your stuff, you're writing with your right hand, you should wear your watch on the left hand like I do. On the other hand, if you're left-handed, you're a lefty, you do all your writing with the left hand, traditionally you should wear your watch on the right hand. This is mainly so your watch doesn't become obtrusive during your simple daily tasks such as writing. Number 2, you have to wear the right watch for the right occasion. Think of watches like shoes. There isn't a one style fits all scenarios. Like you wouldn't wear sneakers to go to a funeral or leather patent slippers on your first date. In the same manner, you're not gonna wear a cheap G-Shock watch with an expensive custom suit or an expensive luxury looking watch with basketball shorts and a t-shirt. You see, like I said in the beginning, a watch should enhance your outfit, and it's an accessory. It shouldn't create a distraction or take away from your head. Now let's talk about the third watch rule, and it's all about where your watch should be placed. Your watch should go before your wrist bone, not on it and not after it. This is so you get full range of motion on your wrist. Like I said, when you wear a watch, you don't want it to be obtrusive. And truth be told, I don't know how guys can wear it any other way. And I have seen it done before, worn on either the wrist bone or past the wrist bone. It's gonna be painful. By the end of the day, you're going to be in pain because you're reducing the natural mobility of your wrist. So anytime your wrist goes back even slightly, it's gonna cause pain. And that rolls me on to number 4. The watch needs to fit right. If you want the watch to sit before your wrist bone, the watch needs to be fitted for your wrist. Don't wear a watch that's loose and looks like it's about to fall out. All that's gonna do is make you look like a noob that you just bought a watch and didn't know you had to get it properly fitted. This is why I love leather band watches, especially if you're a beginner, because it allows you to instantly adjust the watch to your wrist so it can fit properly. If you do have a metal link bracelet, you're going to want to visit some sort of jewelry shop where they're gonna properly size it for your wrist. When it comes to sizing, you don't want it to be so tight that it's cutting your circulation just to keep it in place. You also don't want it to be loose where it's moving around all the time. My comfort level, I like to be able to fit at least one finger, my index finger, in between my watch band and my wrist, and that gives me enough comfort throughout the day. And finally, the 5th and last watch rule all men should follow, it's the size of your watch. This kind of tags along with fit. Just like clothing, you want your watch to fit you right, to actually suit your body shape. A couple of years ago, there was this horrible trend of oversized watches, which, by the way, I'm glad it's dead, because not only did those watches just grab too much attention, if you had small wrists, like for example, I have pretty small wrists, having those massive watches, it just made your wrist look even smaller because it was so overpowering. So it made your arms look like twigs. That's not what you want. On average, for the average male, your watches should be anywhere from 35 to 42 millimeters. This is the range you want to be in. Anything smaller, that's more women territory, so the watch is just gonna be too small for your wrist. Anything bigger, like I mentioned, it's gonna be overpowering. And that's basically it for today's video, guys. Those are the top 5 watch rules all men should follow. If you guys liked this video and found it informative, don't forget to drop us a like down below. Also, don't forget to check out our sponsor, Vincero. They're gonna be linked down below. That's it for me today. See you next time.